Well, some days you're awesome. And other days you're a potato. And some days you're a potato together. Oh God. I am that guy. Well, hello there, humans, hippies, other things, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I wanted to talk to you quickly about a really specific situation. And I wanted to break down in detail this one very, very small engagement. I don't even kill anyone. I just knock a couple of blokes with the Kar 98. And I do a lot of sniping, and there's a few things that I really take for granted, and one of them is the way I set up my shots, and I'm going to show you the way I think through this specific situation, and a couple of things that I think are interesting when I went back and looked at it. I was looking to do a video like this for a while, like a very macro video about sniping. I've done a lot of in-depth stuff with sniping, but not quite to this level, and they've always been really well received. People love the long game. They love the long bomb, and one of the good things about being a good sniper is especially in situations like this where you don't have backup and you're like solo versus squad, you're capable of engaging at your own pace. You don't have to be involved. You can be involved. It really gives you the opportunity to farm up a little bit of damage and maybe get some knocks without taking a whole lot of risk. But there's actually some very interesting mechanics going on here. One of them is obviously going to be, I'm going to talk about the elevation. The other one, I'm going to talk about the game mechanics and the render ranges and why that's important. And I'm also going to talk about basically spotting your target and using your noggin and when to take engagements. Because a lot of the time people will take an engagement just because they've got a 6x scope and think that they'll have a snipe off. And it's not always the best idea. Specifically, I'm going to be referring to when you don't know where anyone is, when you don't know where someone is, like that bloke there, and you're just poking your head out, you're going to get knocked. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is fighting against someone who's sniping at you from elevation. This is the perspective from these guys. Now, when you are down the bottom, you've got to remember these guys are hearing gunshots, but they don't exactly know where I am. So that means that they have to really expose themselves for quite a length of time to get a look at me. And all I'm really exposing is my head. Now, they know it's in the general direction of the hill, but there's so much going on up there. The other thing is that I can always see their feet when they can't see me. So if you're trying to aim up a hill out of a really big window, your feet are completely visible as you walk towards the window. The other really tough thing as someone who is sniping up the hill is you've got to cover off both vertical and horizontal. There is very, very little vertical to be worried about when you are sniping from on top of that area up there. And you can see those trees. This is a very tricky thing. See how the grass doesn't render, but the trees render. That means that when I am on top of the ridge there, they can't be certain that I'm not behind a tree. Look how I've got to go up and down and left and right. And it means it's very, very tough. If someone's on top of a hill and you don't know exactly where they are, what you really want to be doing is peeking to get an idea on where they've shot from. You don't really want to peek and just sit there looking for a shot. And even when you've identified where they are, you still have to come out and expose yourself to take that shot. And if you are in an open window, that's really, really tough, like a big, deep window where they can see your feet. Now, one of the things I want to talk about here, which is this initial engagement, I see that there's a squad. So rather than take a quick snapshot at the first guy who is down on the ground moving left to right, there you go, going up that ramp, I look to take a shot at the second guy. Now, the reason I do this should be very, very clear. That is going to give me time to get 2 shots in, and I've got a Kar 98. It's probably going to actually take a while to clear him 2 shots. Now, the second thing that happens here is I don't try and track the target. I go to where the target is going to go. He has to go through that door. I've already hit him once. If I can hit him again, there's a good chance that I'm going to knock him. So I just line the reticle up with the door and wait till he has to make that entry. And there we go. So 2 things there. One is the target selection was ideal. I got a guy that I could get 2 shots on. Secondly, I lined up where the target was going to have to move to, the only point of exit off that roof if he wanted to get into that space. He could have just jumped off the top, but he wasn't sure where I was. And when you're rushing like that, you really, any port in a storm, you can make that kind of error. We've all done it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the position that I'm in here and render. One of the most important things in the game is render. Grass renders at 150 meters or so and stops rendering after that. So trees, however, do render for a lot longer than that. And if we just reverse that clip for a second, I want to show you something. See the tree on my right? That is solid. It means that at that range, unless they have a really, really good scope, there is going to be a lot of blend between the player that they're seeing, which is just really my head and possibly my shoulders, and that big ass tree that's on my right and all the trees around me, and the roof and the houses. And especially if they're looking in the windows of the houses first, it means this guy has to poke, he has to look and scan, and then he has to make the shot. Whereas all I've got to do is shoot him in the head. And that's so much easier. And you can see when he was actually had his mate running in, and I took that shot on the door, he was waddling about in the doorway, and I could see his feet, even though I couldn't see his complete player character. We're gonna have a look at this again. So I'm gonna slow this down. Obviously, I get my reload in. I'm staying close to the tree on the right, and I keep dropping down under the roof line and then popping back up. So even if they do see me up there, I'm not popping in exactly the same space. See how I duck down and I come back up, and I duck down and then I come back up? That's completely resetting my location every time. And there he goes. I can see his feet. I can see his whole body moving. I just set the shot up and let it fly. I find this very, very interesting. And now what I'm going to do is, this guy's, I don't know what he's doing out there. That's not a good place to be, basically. And I am moving backward and forth, treating the tree like solid cover. I've now isolated this kid. By that I mean, I've turned it into a one-on-one. So basically his mates, they're not going to really be able to get a good shot at me from down there unless they're hacking. I am capable of just seeing that one spot he's in. I know there's really no one on the left. So it's just me and him. And he makes the right move here. He bails out. He gets out of there. That's a bad space for him to be in. So this is one little engagement. If that had a hit, he probably goes down. So now, rather than just sit here doing the same thing, my targets have moved. I got to move. Now, I want you to remember how crazy hard it was to actually effectively peak this area. Now, if they know where you are, fine. And a smart squad will deploy out on a kind of wide range here. But I'm one guy. Like, if there was multiple members of my squad up there and they kept peeking, I mean, we've all been here at boot camp. When you peak that hill, you're asking for trouble. But likewise, if they don't peak the hill, then the guys in the hill have no shots on anything. It's very, very boring being up there. Look at me zooming in here, and look at how dense the tree looks. This is on extreme graphics and smooth. Extreme frames and smooth graphics. It's just a dense, big bit of greenery. You can't really see clearly. It doesn't look defined like it does for me here. So what I'm going to do now is actually drop down below the roof line and peek the right-hand side of the roof. So now I look just like, I can't imagine how hard it is for them to see me up here. And I'm still doing that, ducking down underneath the roof, reappearing a little bit further along, which is really hard. It's very hard to hit a shot on someone that is bobbing and just showing their head on a roof line like that. Now I'm leaning out here. I've got a small wedge of daylight there. There's solid green as far as they're concerned down on that side of the roof. They might see me, and movement will draw the eye. Moving like this is dangerous because if I'm perfectly still, it's less likely that they see me, but if they do see me, I will get killed. What I'm relying on here is that even if they see me, it is such a tough shot to take, they won't really get a hold of me. And they've done the right thing. They've moved away from the area where they were actually fighting me, and they're looking further afield. So they've spread out along that fence line, and there's someone running through the middle. He's going to pop just in a second above that wall. I'm thinking I'm leading that target. I'm setting the shot up, and hello, there's his mate poking again, having a look at where he thinks I am, which is probably the window up there. I thought you guys would enjoy that. Just an in-depth look at something that was a very simple passage to play. But if you know about the game mechanics and how it works, you can make a whole lot of hay off it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the channel. Hope you like the videos. Remember to subscribe, say good day to people, be nice to each other. Come and join the Discord server. Check out my damage spreadsheet. All the numbers are updated. The rate of fire is updated. Everything's updated. I'm updated. We're all updating. We're so updatedly happy. Yeah, become a patron if you want to join in on the live streams and such. It's patreon.com/thebushka. Anyway, look after yourselves. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now. Subscribe. I like subscribe. Bye.